My name is Frank Paul, and it's a great pleasure and a privilege for me to be the host and presenter of this course that's all about understanding MACD better, how to use it, sometimes how not to use it, and I hope that you will find this course a great or valuable addition to your personal library of learning materials on Forex trading. The original inventor of MACD, which is Gerald Appel, pictured to your left on the cover of his latest or most popular book entitled Technical Analysis, Power Tools for Active Investors. And then to your right is a reference to the article that Thomas Asprey wrote in about 1986, I believe, in which he discusses how the histogram component of the MACD indicator came about. Gerald Appel's invention was really innovative. He came out with MACD in the mid-1960s, and to make a whole lot of theory condensed into about 5 seconds of description, what it basically was a new way of making sense of moving averages. Gerald Appel was looking at two moving averages, a fast moving average and a slow moving average, and he noticed that in and around crossover events, which indicated a shift in momentum, the behavior of these two lines in terms of the physical gap or separation between them, it tended to widen or narrow, thus the terms convergence, divergence. And what he did was find a way to directly measure those gaps, the angle and separation attributes of moving averages, and he did that simply by subtracting the value of one from the other. MACD is nothing more than the mathematical difference of the reference values for two moving averages. That's all it is. And so when we're looking, say, at a 12.26.9 MACD, those first two numbers refer to the two exponential moving averages, the difference of which we're measuring. So a 12 period and a 26 period EMA. So it's a very simple innovation, yet very powerful, because what he was able to do was remove the lag. You often hear moving averages referred to as lagging indicators, but MACD, what it does is it anticipates crossovers more quickly than the moving averages do that it's constructed from. So that's a very powerful tool and an improvement in our ability to trade the markets. And what Thomas Asprey came up with was just a very simple way of measuring the difference between MACD and its trigger line, and that in turn helped anticipate crossover events of MACD over the trigger. So a nice way to make that information more visually obvious. So those are the two folks who really gave us this mini toolkit that we're working with, and I would just like to acknowledge them both and thank them for the powerful tools they've given us to work and trade with. Here are the purposes and objectives of this course, and I hope that you'll find that we fulfill them very well through the course of the next 8 modules. The most important thing to understand, of course, is that we're taking an approach designed to be as compatible as possible with the Forex Mentor trading system, which, as we know, encompasses topics such as daily pivots, trendline projections, support and resistance, and so forth. So we're taking that as our foundation, as our building block, and using that approach to gain a greater depth of understanding of MACD, going into some of its facets with a little more detail than there typically might be time for. So I'm hopeful that you don't find this duplicative or redundant, but rather that it fits within the Forex Mentor style of trading that you've spent a lot of time learning. Now, something that's very important to understand is you're actually watching the second iteration of this course. In the first one, I went into bucket loads of detail in terms of technical information. So there were a lot of mathematical formulas. I spent a lot of time showing how to construct exponential moving averages, the mathematical formula for MACD, and so forth. And it's kind of interesting to know, but it's more theoretically oriented than practical. And we found, Vic and I, that that approach was quickly resulting in a course that was going to end up being somewhere around 10 hours long, and we kind of figured most people probably wouldn't appreciate being beset with that much dry information, theoretical and conceptual. So there is going to be a little bit of theory information peppered throughout the presentation, but what we're really trying to do is give you the very most practical approach you can get in terms of learning how to use MACD to make winning trades. So we're going to bypass some of the theory that we might have been able to get into in the interest of making this course usable, useful to you, and that you don't feel overwhelmed by too much theory. So we're really looking to show you in practical, sort of step-by-step how-to terms, how to use MACD in your total trading approach. Even though we build upon Forex Mentor's system, we're going to throw in a few ideas you've probably not seen before, some slightly unusual ways to use MACD. Try not to stretch it too thin, but provide a little bit of an original spin here and there, and most of all, to increase the number of ways in which you can use MACD for your trading. Ultimately, we hope that you know more about MACD than most other traders, your peers out there in trading land. And so that, in a nutshell, are the objectives for this course, and I hope you find those useful.